welcome back to my channel. Today I am here to do Wren's 6-month update. So we're a few, I don't want to say weeks, I think probably about a week late because she did turn 6 months on the 27th of June and we are in the kind of first little bit of July here. Yeah. So this period between the 5 and 6 month mark has gone by so fast. I'm probably gonna say that every month, I know, but it's also been a time of so many changes. I feel like Wren has developed like crazy in this past month and there's so many things she's doing that she couldn't do before. So I'm just gonna go over some of those kind of top things and hopefully this video won't be too long because I feel like there's been so many changes. So if you saw our last update, I was kind of rushing through it because that day we were actually leaving for Wren's first adventure and I did vlog a few days on that trip, so I'm gonna link those below. But we did, hi Pumpkin, hi. We did about 10 days in England without my husband, so that was also very eye-opening, traveling. Are we losing your bow? Are we losing your bow, girl? Traveling with a baby without your husband. But Wren did amazing. So the flight from Vancouver to London was 10 hours. Going there was an overnight flight and Wren pretty much slept through the whole thing. She was a little bit cranky as we were boarding the flight and I felt so bad because I could see all those eyes on me as we're boarding and Wren's crying. And I was thinking, just wait till I get on there and can feed her and she'll be fine. And she was. She was asleep before we even took off, slept for the first 3 hours and then kind of just on and off slept the rest of the flight. So that was amazing. Coming home, hi beautiful. Coming home was a daytime flight. We left at 10 a.m. London time. And again, she did great. She definitely was awake more of that flight and there was a little bit more entertainment needed. So in that sense, it was a bit more exhausting for me. And that was definitely the time when I was wishing my husband was with me just to be able to pass him off. But honestly, Wren was great both flights, so I can't complain about that. During the trip itself, Wren did so good. She just really went with the flow and that's totally her personality, so I'm not surprised. But you know, being the first big trip that we did with a 5-month-old, I really didn't know what to expect. And she definitely surpassed all my expectations. She dealt with the jet lag really well. There's an 8-hour time difference between Vancouver and London. And other than the first night where she was up for a few hours, she just slept through the night like she normally would and napped more during the day. And I think that's where I noticed the jet lag was definitely out and about during the day. In the stroller, she slept a lot. So every day I would take an umbrella stroller out with us as well as my baby carrier. And I would kind of rotate between the two just depending on how I felt she was feeling. So if she was getting really tired in the stroller, I would move her into the baby carrier. While we were in England, Wren started sitting up. She was able to sit up for a couple seconds and she was doing that a little bit before we left, but the stroller that I was using in England was a little umbrella stroller and it didn't have the same support as her stroller at home. Hi, beautiful. And I think it actually was like a little bit of a workout for her. So it kind of forced her to use a little bit more core stabilization because by the time we got home from that trip, she really was sitting up so much stronger and now she can sit up totally fine. So I can put her on her playmat sitting up, put toys around her and she'll just sit there and be super content and play with her toys. And that's been a massive change because she was getting to the point where she really wanted to be playing to entertain herself, but she was kind of over-relying on her back. So now that she can sit up and support herself, she's so much more content and happy to do that. Bouncy, 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 Wren. Bouncy, 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 Wren. So I mentioned it in my 5-month update or in Wren's 5-month update, but we have started introducing solids. I think at that point I had really only tried her on rice cereal, whereas now I have introduced more foods, trying to introduce more textures. She's definitely leans towards the pureed food, and I have heard from moms with older kids that it's a little bit of a dangerous path to only introduce purees because then they do get kind of reliant on that texture. So I've been trying to introduce more textures. So far she hasn't loved it, but I'm gonna try and keep going with it as well as keep up with the purees. Wren's happy to be on her belly now. She rolls back and forth totally fine and will roll on her belly and play with toys on her belly. So she's definitely getting the most tummy time she's ever had and she's doing herself. So that's a great way to get into that crawling position. And I have definitely noticed, although she's not crawling yet or even pushing herself up onto all fours, she's definitely, when she's on her belly, moving her legs and shifting and wanting to kind of pull herself. So we're starting to get to the point where I think she's wanting to use that momentum to move towards, well, to move towards our cat specifically. And I think the first time she crawls really will be to get to our cat, because she's obsessed with him. And anytime she sees him walk by, she just lights up and starts laughing. And I feel for him, because I think now begins the adventures of our cat having to run away from a little baby and then a toddler. But you're gonna be nice to him, right? Because he's your big brother. Who's that girl? Who is that? Okay, the other massive change that has come about this month is sleep training. So I'm not gonna lie, I was so against sleep training. I felt it was cruel. I didn't wanna let my baby cry it out, anything like that. It's just a natural mother's instinct that you don't wanna hear your baby cry. It did get to the point where the only way we could get Wren to go to sleep was for me to nurse her or for my husband to rock her to sleep. And as she was getting heavier and getting older and more independent, we didn't want that to be the crutch for her. So we bit the bullet and we did do sleep training. The first couple nights she fell asleep in about 25 minutes. The third night, which was the worst night of all of it, hi pumpkin, she took an hour to fall asleep, and honestly that night I was just over it. I was like, I'm going in, I'm done, I can't listen to this. But my husband sort of reminded me that if we stop now, we're done. Like, we can't go back to it, because then she does learn that if she cries long enough, we'll go in. But it did get so much better, and honestly, even from night one, Wren slept through the night once she fell asleep. And it has just kept up, and I can't even tell you the difference it's made. She's napping better during the day because she's learned to fall asleep independently. I can put her in her crib to fall asleep during the day. She takes longer naps. It's been so good. Yeah, yes. The last 2 nights, I literally, after our bedtime routine, put her down in her crib and she was asleep before I left the room. And I mean, that's insane. Like, that's such a difference. So I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of you. Right, so I'm just nursing Wren because, you know, gotta multitask. So no teeth yet, but in terms of teething, she's definitely upped her game of wanting to just gnaw on everything. Anything that she can grab goes in her mouth. Anything silicone or rubber, like the little Sophie toys or the silicone teethers, she just puts them in and just gnaws on them. So she has been loving that. I definitely check every day to see if she has teeth, but there is nothing at this point. And to be honest, I'm not really worried about it because I am still nursing, and as soon as those teeth come in, ooh, I fear that day. I do. So yeah, no rush for that. So just in terms of Wren's personality, it just continues to grow and develop, and she just has become such a sweet little baby. I mean, obviously, for my non-biased opinion, I just thought she's had the sweetest personality from the start. But it's so fun now that she's 6 months old that she's really her own little person. Definitely leaning more towards hard toys, so things that are plastic or rubber, things that she can bang. Oh man, she loves to bang things. All those lovely sounds in our house. So yeah, she's having a ball with those. I'm trying not to buy too many because we do try and practice a slightly more minimal take to our lives, just because we do live in a condo, so we kind of have to do the small space living, and with that I try not to go nuts with the baby toys. But there is one that I have bought for her, and it kind of has like the little blocks that you can move along the side and the little spinnies, and she'll sit there and spin that and play with that. She'll even like pick it up and kind of like bang it against the ground. It's really cute, and she's been enjoying that. Wren weighs about 16 to 17 pounds. It's fluctuated a little bit in the last little while. She did get quite sick a few weeks back. It was, I think it was about 3 weeks ago now. 2 out of the 3-night period, she was quite sick to the point where she puked up her whole dinner, and then she just kept puking up, and we ended up going into the hospital and having her looked at. The doctor wasn't really sure what it was. He figured it was some kind of virus passing through her system. Within a couple days, she was totally fine, and there has been no post reactions or anything like that. So she, yeah, seems to be back to her normal self, but I'm not gonna lie, that was really, really scary. A couple days ago, she had her 6-month vaccinations and did amazing. It was nice because the 6-month vaccination is only 1 injection, so she almost didn't even realize it was happening. It was kind of over before it even started. She didn't shed a tear. She made one little mopey face, and then we kind of got her back smiling right away. And unlike her 2-month and 4-month vaccination, she didn't spike a fever. She really was totally fine. She was a little bit mopey that first day, a little bit more cuddly than usual, but honestly, the next day she was totally fine, and the whole thing was like the best injection experience we've had so far. For sizing, Wren is now wearing anything that's either 6 months, and even the 6-month stuff is a little bit short in lengthwise and can be a little bit tight. So I typically like to buy things that are 6 to 12 months, especially if it's like a one piece like she's wearing today. Lengthwise, she needs the longer legs, and then if it is just like an outfit or a top or anything like that, it's 6 to 9 months is kind of ideal. And that's not everything. Obviously, brands vary so much, and there's some things that I have that are 6 to 9 months that aren't gonna fit her for probably a couple months. So that is Wren's 6-month update. I can't even believe that she's half a year. It's gone by so fast, and I know that we are gonna be reaching that 1-year mark so quickly, and it kind of makes me sad because even now, like, I mean, she's still a baby, but you can just see how quickly they become toddlers and kids. So I'm gonna end it here and save lots of goodies for the 7-month update. Like I said, we are a little bit into the 6 to 7 month mark now, but I'm not gonna say some of the recent changes. I will save that for the next one. So thank you so much for watching, and definitely like this video if you enjoyed it and want to see more updates from Wren, and go check me out on Instagram. I'll put the link below. And that's it, guys. So thanks so much for watching, and you guys have a great day. Hey, it was my half birthday recently. I'm such a baby.